Anything mama we ever find out, no one come by a girl close. I mean, no see the boy with the call me up in me and go down the road. I'm a naive to forget, and if a boy get me, not easy to let. Promise, me no see the girl with the run up on my panic. No watch your pretty face, head be up like a bunny. You know to me it's closer. And in the game I play me, I feel it calm and I take closing. Swear that I the truth.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my video. I am so happy to be with you guys again, to be on this self-love journey, understanding ourselves and growing into our bestest self. So guys, welcome back. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I'm just gonna be talking about, how to survive family festivities, how to be around your family. Sometimes during the holidays, it can be a very emotional time, a time filled with happiness, anger, sadness. Sometimes we don't get along with our family members, and that's okay, because it's very difficult to really gain attachments that are not there, gain bonds that are not there. It's very difficult to be around a person that you feel like you're supposed to have that connection with but don't. And being around family members, it can be a wonderful experience, and then it can create deep wounds and deep sadness. So I'm just going to be giving you guys tips on how to survive, being around cultural families during this time, because it can create a lot of resentment. It can create love and happiness, or it can go towards sadness. And some people don't have family members to be around, and that's another big thing, like being around friendships and your friends inviting you over to family festivities and being like, oh my gosh, I don't have my family to be around. So that's just basically what this video is going to be about, just understanding how to better yourself and how to better your relationship with your family members. Before I start, so I always want to do, when I do a sit-down video, I always want to give like words of affirmations, because I realize that words of affirmations do help me. Sometimes, my motto is, it is utterly important to keep my mind positive, because sometimes negative self-talk can affect not only your emotions but your choices and your day-to-day life. When I originally bought this book that I'm about to show you, I thought it was a book that was going to tell me a little bit more about myself, just a book to learn from, but it's actually a words of affirmations book, and I found it extremely helpful. I like having a book in my hand, but for people who who are tech savvy and like things to pop up on their phone, always on their phone, a good motivational affirmations app is called I Am, and another one is called Motivations. If you want, you can go in there and find it, but this book that I have has really helped me. I read it every time I need an affirmation to really understand, or to really get me motivated and hopeful within the day. The affirmations that I'm going to be reading to you guys today is so it starts off by saying, no matter how much you wish you could, you cannot control how another person feels and loves. Just because someone fails to see your worth, it doesn't make them a bad person, and it doesn't mean you are unlovable. It simply means that they are not meant for you. You should never have to spend your days and nights wondering if you are good enough for somebody. You are enough, and you are more than enough for the right person. Always remember that your happiness comes first. Focus on loving yourself, really loving yourself, and you will see your value and find the strength to walk away from unrequited love. Weeks, months, years will pass, and you will look back and wonder why on earth it took you so long to see all along you deserved everything you always wished you had. You don't love me, and it's okay. And I love that quote. I love that affirmation, because sometimes as females, we fight so hard for people to love us, and we fight so hard for someone to see our worth, and we fight so hard to be understood, and we give so much love to others, and we don't get that same love returned back to us, and it causes resentment, it causes bitterness, it causes anger. And I've experienced that. I've experienced giving so much love, giving so much. I pour my all into people. I pour my all into family members, friendships, and partners. And sometimes I have so high of an expectation for them that they don't give that love in return. Either they don't give that love in return, or they don't meet up to the expectation of that love, and it causes so much hurt within ourselves. And you know, when you're giving a person everything 150% of your heart, and they literally only give you 30%, it can cause so much anger and so much betrayal. And like, man, I really went to the moon and back, around the earth, around the sun, and you literally went to your doorstep and just returned back to home and didn't give me nothing. And sometimes, you know, it can hurt, it can feel dreadful, it can rip you into pieces, and you want to cry, because when you give someone love and they don't give you back, it not only affects you emotionally, physically, and mentally, it affects your ego. And sometimes as a female, you be like, damn, how can you not love me? I am everything and more. I am this, that, and the third. I give you the moon, and you never have another person like me. And then you feel crushed when they're dating somebody else, or giving that love to somebody else, or a family member is not treating you as you're supposed to be treated. And it's difficult. It's difficult to feel those emotions. You feel like, you know, there's something in your heart that's just tearing and putting it back together, and tearing again and putting it back together. And it can be hard to understand what it really means to love yourself, and what it really means to love someone and get that love returned back to you. And I don't even want to go spiritual on you guys, because you know, some people don't really believe in certain things, and that's okay, you know, whatever works for you. But spiritually, I just believe that, you know, God really gives us the love that we don't even see within ourselves. And at times we search for this love that is right in front of us, and sometimes because we can't see it, it's like we try to say it's not there, but it's there. Our love for my parents is different, because it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, they're my parents. My mother birthed me. She have to love me. But when you get in a relationship and that person does you dirty, or that person doesn't give you that love that you gave to them, it can be very effectively hurtful on your ego, because it's like, it's hard to be the type of person to not have love. And love is what we always fight for in the world. It's the reason for us being human. Our choices, our emotions are there, and love is always something we're going to fight for. And sometimes with it being rejected, it's really hard to love. Sometimes we love toxic, sometimes we love emotionally without reason. And what's good to have a healthy love. Healthy love is something that we all should fight for. Everybody talks about, yeah, that love is toxic. Yeah, I want this and I want this, and I believe that if my love is not toxic, it's boring. But being able to have a healthy love, whew, it's so satisfying, you know. It's really, it does something to your soul, to your mind, and to your spirit. Having healthy love, knowing that if I give you this, you'll give me this in return, and sometimes more. And it's wonderful. Now, going back to what I said, I have my second phone here. Basically, like I said, it's gonna be about, you know, family. One thing that I would say that being a Jamaican family has made me realize that you really need to set boundaries. I know everybody talks about boundaries. I'm still having so much trouble, you know, setting boundaries, but family boundaries are something that needs to be set. In my family, I can see that, especially with them being in a culture of being Caribbean, at times it can be very, very, very judgmental. Very judgmental. We have the judgmental, you know, spiritual people who, if you party, they look at you a certain type of way. Then you have the judgmental family members that if you're not educated, or if you're not at a certain level, they would judge you and they would look down upon you. And those judgments come from when you're a child to a teenager to an adult, like you get that constant critical judgment, and sometimes it's hard to be authentic and be yourself and find who you are, because you're in the back of your mind, those words, those judgments, those critical critiques are always in the back of your mind. And I realized that sometimes, you know, it's good to be like, listen, I don't really need to hear that if I shave my head that I look like a boy. I don't really need to hear that if I don't complete this, or if I'm not successful in a certain type of way that fits your needs, that you will look down upon me. I don't really need to hear that I need to be this and this way, or I have to be this and this etiquette, or I shouldn't be dating this and this person, or I should meet your needs. At the end of the day, you are my family member, and I love you, and I respect your opinion, but your opinion is different from being judgmental and critical. And I saw something on the internet, and it just states like what I'm talking about, like what family boundaries might sound like. And it's like, one of the PowerPoints are like, thank you for sharing this advice. I'll consider it, and I'll let you know when I make my decision. Whew. One thing about being in a family full of opinions, sometimes it's hard to make decisions and hard to say no. Like, you be guilt tripped, you be, you know, feel like you're not good enough into completing this task, and feel like, you know, you have to do it or you don't have any choice. And I've especially felt that I felt like, you know, I can't say no, like I don't have a choice. And one thing that I realized, especially now, is I always have a choice, and my choice, it's better to feel comfortable within myself than saying yes to someone else and then have an internal battle with myself because I said yes. Now I'm filled up with resentment, and that person is okay because I said yes. Like, that's just not healthy. And I feel like during family festivities, you feel like, you know, you'll be annoyed because there's always that 1 to 3 family members that, you know, you don't really typically get along with. It's either that auntie that makes sarcastic comments, or has something to say about your lifestyle, or has something to say about who you are as a person, and they haven't even taken the time out to get to know you. And I would say, like, I wouldn't say be disrespectful, because there's times when I've miscalculated being honest with my feelings and being open and honest with being disrespectful. So I would say, because sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, you think you can say this to me, and you feel like, no, I'm gonna stand up for myself, and I'm gonna make me and you go back at it, because you ain't gonna disrespect me like this and feel like you're gonna get away with it. So I would say that might cause way more issues. I would say really and truly look within yourself and look within the person. Like, you know, if someone told me this, but she was like, if it's not gonna matter 5 years from now, then you shouldn't take more than 5 minutes being upset about it. And really and truly, I think that it's hard to really express yourself, especially with grandparents, aunts and uncles, and parents who were born in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, because the way they grew up and the way we mentally are now is totally different. They grew up like, okay, you have no opinion. Your opinion as a child does not matter. You are a child, stay in a child's place. You know, that none of that doesn't matter. So it's hard to really say now, as young adults in this day and age in 2021, that you have an opinion, that you are, you know, your opinion is valuable. So for me, I think that when I have an aunt or an uncle or a friend or a cousin that I disagree with, that I don't want to be around, I think for me now, the evolved me, I would say the best thing to do is to be authentically true with yourself. You know, don't force anything, don't force any bond, don't force any relationship. If you guys haven't built that connection, you know, that's okay. That's okay. You know, it's very hard. One thing I realized, like, it's hard to have a family member as a stranger, because you're supposed to be family. You're supposed to understand each other. You're supposed to be around each other, you know. So having a family member that's a stranger is difficult, but it's life, you know. If it's important to you, you try to build that relationship, but don't force it. Don't force anyone to love you, or don't force anyone to have a bond with you, or a relationship with you, or understanding you, right? Now, another thing is, I'd appreciate if you didn't comment on my physical appearance or weight anymore. Oh my gosh, this is a thing, like, especially in the cultural families. Like, oh my gosh, look how much weight you lose. Oh my gosh, you get fat, man, you're not exercising or nothing like that. So, as at times our families can be very critical about our appearance. Like, I've known this person that she just had a baby, right? And she's been my friend a really long time. And she's like, sometimes I feel disrespected because my family critiques me on my weight. And it's like, give me a break because I just had a baby. Like, oh my gosh, you get fat, man, you lose yourself. You don't really care about your body or yourself no more. And it's very difficult to be in a type of situation where you feel like a person is supposed to, have your best interest at heart, and they're just demeaning your self-worth, your appearance, who you are. And it's like, why don't you say, hey, if you need a gym partner, I could be your gym partner. Hey, I know this may be a very difficult time for you right now, but if you need anything, I'm here for you. And if you need any meal plans, I'm here for you. I can help you with postpartum depression. I can help you with gaining your body back, or realizing who you are before you were a mother, now after you're a mother. Guys, another one is, when you dismiss my opinions, I feel disrespected. So a lot of times when you're around your family members, and especially when you're the younger person, you can see where your opinions don't matter. And sometimes that can make you feel like a person is invalidating who you are as a person and invalidating who you feel. And invalidation is something that I do not like. If you invalidate my feelings, best know I'm cutting you off. Like, I feel like if we're supposed to be family members, if we're supposed to be friends, my feelings should be validated. Like, you should at least consider me. You should at least consider how I feel or who I am as a person. You know what I'm saying? How to bond as a family, because there's times when people feel like just because we're family, that means we have a great relationship and a great connection and an understanding. There's times when I felt like that. Like, previously I felt like, okay, we're family, because we did this and this together, that means we're great. And that's a misconception. A lot of times, because, like, let's say for example, your mother has like 2 other sisters, right? Now, being that your mother has 2 other sisters, that person may live in different states. That person may, live in the same state as you, but you never got to bond with that aunt, and you never got to bond with her children. And now it's difficult because you have a family member coming over, but that family member is technically a stranger, and you don't have that connection. So then it like makes me inauthentic, because I'm like, oh my gosh, hey. And in my mind I'm like, please don't touch me, because I don't know you, and I haven't really got to figuring out if I want to know you. So it's very difficult, because it's like, a family member can definitely be a stranger. I have family members that are strangers right now, and if they will come to me and I'll come to them, we could build that relationship and build that bond, because just like a friend that you've never had, you guys build that relationship. But another tip that I could give is, don't take everything so personally. Like, being like, oh my gosh, she didn't call me, or she didn't spend time with me, or don't take everything so personally. I would say, if that person does want to communicate with you, they will. If that person wants to spend time with you, they will. If that person wants to get to know you, they will. But don't take everything so personally, because if you do, you'll never be able to actually build a bond that you crave for, or build a bond that you would want with another person. During times where you feel sadness and feel like, oh my gosh, the expectation of what my family should be like, because sometimes families bicker. Trust me, I know. I have both of my families bigger. Like, I literally mentally prepare myself for who's going to argue when I'm in a family gathering. I'm like, oh my gosh, please. I pray, I ask God, like, guide our emotions, guide our, understanding. Help us be connected, help us be level-headed, help us just have a great time, there's times when, because we can't express ourselves within our families, there's a lot of bottled up feelings and a lot of things we hide, family secrets, emotional secrets, things that we don't tell our parents, things that our parents don't tell their parents, things that our aunts and uncles hide from our parents, hide from each other, things that clicked in family members that oh, me and this person don't get along, oh, this person is younger than me, I don't really want to spend time with them. And it's just all life. We grow, we learn, we evolve. And I think understanding life and getting to understand each family member, because I have a family member, I have an aunt that she is super confrontational. She argues about everything, and she's a super confrontational person. And I would say that because of her confrontation, it's made everybody like, I don't really want to be around her, I don't really want to have a connection with her, I don't really want to like have any affiliation with her. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, you're confrontational, but what is that reason? What caused you to be here? And that's where self-compassion comes in. That's where empathy comes in. That's where understanding that, damn, this person might have been through so much in their life and might not have had the tools that we have today. Because let me tell you, empathy, self-confidence, self-worth, traumas, wounds, emotional wounds, they've just become a trend today. Like, back then in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, who knew what a trauma was? Who knew what an emotional bond was? Who knew what love bombing was? Who knew what, self-love was? They just went through their life with so many different feelings without having the tools to really understand, this is what I'm going through and this is what I'm feeling. And can you imagine the baggage of not really understanding why you are the way you are, because you didn't have the tools back then to really be like, okay, this was a trauma, this is an emotional bond, this is me, my actions today are because of something that happened in my childhood, or something that happened in my past. And all they had back then was, to survive, and survival made them who they are. And I have so much empathy for her, because I'm like, damn, I feel like something must have happened to you for you to be here. So to finish off this video, guys, before I go, remember to like, comment, and share, and subscribe. Like I said, I'm trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, so make sure you continue this video. My tips for family gatherings is have patience, be kind to one another, set family boundaries, let them know what you'll accept and what you won't accept. Let them know, this is who I am and I love myself, and your critical comments and judgments won't change who I am and who I want to be. So you can keep it to yourself, and let yourself know that your opinions are valuable, they're validated. It's okay to feel this way, it's okay to want this type of lifestyle, it's okay to want this type of relationship. And last but not least, be authentic with yourself, because forcing things just makes things worse. Being who you think people want you to be creates an internal battle that it's so hard to come back from. And I would say definitely stay true to who you are and enjoy it. Enjoy being around your family members. Death is something very real, and it doesn't happen only because you're older, you have an illness. No, death can happen in the snap of a finger. So cherish those loved ones who you really care about. Hug that grandmother this Thanksgiving and this Christmas. But really and truly, I know a lot of people say cherish them while they're here, but I want to emphasize cherish them while they're here, because when they're gone, it creates a big wound within yourself, because you're like, damn, I didn't get to call them for this Christmas, or I didn't get to ask them how they were doing, or I didn't spend time with them. Because trust me, those moments, those particular moments when you feel like I should have called, I should have, you know, texted, I should have spent more time with them, are the moments that will rip you apart, because you feel guilty. You feel like, you know, what was more important than them? So cherish yourself, cherish your partners, cherish your family members, cherish them. Video, because this channel is going to be amazing, and I can't wait to go on my journey with my amazing women. I'm so happy that you guys have watched the video. Like I said, like, comment, and share. Don't forget to subscribe, and my next video is going to be about Christmas festivities. Like, guys, I'm trying to get into the Christmas spirit. All the time I'm like, oh, it's Christmas, I just want gifts, like gifts. But I'm really looking forward to these Christmas times. Thank you for watching, and remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Share out the video. Later, guys.